our 40-day Bible reading, The Big Story. And today is day 29 from Acts chapter 16. It's entitled, The Gospel Spreads. And we see through this chapter some of the different ways that the gospel of Jesus Christ was being spread in those early days, especially through the Apostle Paul and his companions. Just a side note here, it begins by talking about Timothy. And and notice it says that Timothy's mother was a Jew and his father was a Greek. Well, in case you don't know, that's how I got my name, because my mother was a Jew and my father was a Greek. But we'll get back to what we need to really talk about today. So we see, though, that Paul takes Timothy along with himself and his other companions, and they're traveling first to the churches there in the area where they are. And we're told in verse number 5 that the churches were strengthened and grew daily. And there's a sense there that the churches are growing as the gospel spreads through the ministry of the church. It seems that the believers were inviting their friends and family to come and hear the message of the gospel, and people were receiving the gospel through the ministry of the church. We then read of how the Apostle Paul, he receives a vision to go to Macedonia, and so he travels again with his companions to Macedonia, and they end up in the city of Philippi. And it says that on the Sabbath, Paul and his friends, they went over by the riverbank to find a place to pray. And there they encountered some women. And in that group of women was a woman named Lydia. And Lydia was a woman who was open to the gospel. And so Paul and his companions, they share the gospel with Lydia. And before you know it, Lydia and her whole family, they come to faith in Jesus Christ. Shortly after that, while still in Philippi, Paul and Silas, they end up in a Roman prison. And we're told that at midnight, they're praying and they're singing praise to God. And while they are, God sends an earthquake. The whole place is shaken. The chains of the prisoners are broken. The jailer is about to commit suicide, for he was responsible to make sure that no one escaped. But Paul and Silas, they calm him down, and soon he's asking a very, very good question, a very pointed question. What must I do to be saved? And Paul comes back with a very simple answer. It's the gospel message. Believe in the Lord Jesus and you will be saved. And before you know it, the jailer and his whole family, they do just that. They come to faith in Jesus and they are saved. You see, the whole chapter shows us that the good news of the gospel, it was being preached and it was spreading in so many different ways through the ministry of the church, through personal encounters that people were having, and then even in the midst of jails and earthquakes. Every opportunity was being used to share this very simple message of good news. It wasn't hard, it wasn't complicated. Just believe in the Lord Jesus and you will be saved. Well, I want to encourage us today. Let's thank God for the gospel message. We don't have to work harder. We don't have to become more religious. We don't have to prove ourselves. We just need to put our faith in Jesus and just begin to follow him with our lives. And then secondly, let me encourage us to look for every opportunity we can to find ways to share this good news of the gospel. Well, God bless, have a great day, and let's keep on reading the big story.